Welcome to Dan's Talks. My guest today is Bruce Damark of Damark's Deli and Market on 3 Mile Harbor Road in East Hampton. I first met him, I think he looked at me suspiciously at the time when I was in the little grocery store on that site, uh, which was about maybe 500 square feet, I think. And his family was running it, and he stopped in to uh, see what was going on. And here's a newspaper man looking at plans for what he plans to put in that on that market's corner, and which is going to be giant and grand. And I don't know what to make of it, but I was a little awkward, but I backed out. And lo and behold, all of that happened. And I wanted to talk to him about it and start with that little deli, which was there when I first moved out here, called Damark's Deli. And it was run by Mary, how are you related to Mary?
She's my grandmother. Her and my grandfather built that in 1949 after the war. Um, they actually bought that property from the Lesters, the Round Swamp Lester clan. Albie Lester was in the other day and he was telling me about it. And Margaret Ambrose, who had the bar down the street, my grandmother's sister, also bought that property from the Lesters. So that was back in 1949, and they had it for 25 years.
During
And
during that time was when I first met her. I walked in there, I was about 25 years old, and she said, "Oh, I was wanting to meet you." She said, "You've moved in up the street, and you have this little newspaper you've started, and are you what's your story? Are you married yet?" That was her greeting to me from an owner of a deli.
yeah, she wanted to know everybody's business.
She knew everybody.
Yes, she did.
And so where did how did you grow up and go to school in East Hampton?
Yeah, I went over on Panago Lane, off of Panago Lane, actually right behind the Snowflake, before it was built, Maple Lane there.
Yeah.
And sometimes we would get off on the bus just to stay at my grandparents there until my parents got off work and they would take us home. And we'd stop there, like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9, and eat yodels and watch the Three Stooges and help out with a few things there. So yeah, been there for a while. Has a long history in our mind, my family, my siblings, and everyone. So good thoughts.
Tell me about yourself, and if you had always been interested in the deli, or did you have other ideas about what you might be when you grew up?
Yeah, I've floated around. I went to college in
Where?
Virginia, Washington and Lee University in
Sure.
Lexington. Yeah, and then came to East Hampton. And my sister and brother-in-law lived in Monterey. I went out there for a year. Then I moved down to San Diego, and I was going to go to law school. I worked for a law firm for a year as a paralegal, and I didn't really like that. And then I went to Tokyo and lived there for 3 years. I was
Oh, what was
uh,
that all
e-
about?
editing marketing documents in house. They used to do it. They used to just send, like, long ago in the 70s, the Japanese would send video manuals and they would have funny English in them when you read them. In the 80s, they started doing it in house and they would have expats, with American expats and Canadians, and
Why
correcting
did you
it.
go to Japan, though?
A friend from Washington Lee was going, and he said, "Let's go over and do this." And I wasn't doing anything at the time, so I thought I'd try it out. And I stayed there for 3 years. I met my wife, Michiko, there at the time, and brought her back. And
How long you were there? 2 years?
three,
Three?
yeah,
What was
yeah.
your impression of Japan? I've only been there for 2 days, and then I was on to Hong Kong.
I loved it. It's a very peaceful place, very civil. Um, you know, no guns, no deaths.
Did you think you
So
might stay?
um, I wasn't sure. I played around with it for a while, and so I just I no, but no, I didn't think I was gonna stay. I was looking for. I had a couple offers, but then I just decided to go home. In a lot of ways, I wish I did stay, but so then when I came back, my dad had passed away, but my mother was gonna just sell the store, and I said, I looked at my wife looked at me, and we said, let's give this a go, to see what we can do with it. So we had the old store for 20 years, and we've been in this new one for 5. So we've been
What,
at it
uh,
for.
what, uh, what about your brothers and sisters? Were they interested in the store at all, or was it clear from the start you were gonna?
No, 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 they really weren't. My sister was there for a while managing with my mother.
Oh,
And she decided to move on as well. So, so no, we all worked there as kids.
yeah.
Yeah, she had us behind the counter. I was selling Lucky Strikes for $40 a pack when I was like 7, 8 years old. I could barely see over the counter.
Oh,
So go figure.
I
But
had a
yeah,
similar experience. My parents had bought White's Pharmacy in Montauk,
right.
and it was on Main Street at that time, not around the corner in the new building, which my dad built, but it was owned by Mr. White, and he had sold its business to my dad, and I worked in between in the summer. I worked running that we had a fountain with
Oh,
people
right.
little chrome stools and all that.
Sure, sure. Wow.
And I remember my mother, was saying one time to me, she said, when we buy the toothpaste in the shelves, we get the larger size because the tourists are here and they would buy the smallest one if they could. So that's why we make a little more money if we buy it, if they have to buy
Right,
the larger ones.
right.
So
Yeah,
a lot goes on in a store like that.
yeah.
We had quite a shift in the demographics here, as you know, and you could tell me how you saw that. I live not far from you, from,
Yeah, no, it's true. When we first took it over, I want to say it seemed to happen. I think George W. Bush was in office. It's around that just comes to mind. But and then it was just it was just very no Hispanics. So I went to high school. There was just a few kids, and they just started appearing, and more and more and more, and then we hired a couple of sisters. They've been with us for 23 years. They're from Ecuador, and now our whole staff is
I
Ecuadorian.
think one of the interesting changes for you must have been the advent of the hot lunch, because
Right, a hot
the
table. Yeah,
population never was interested in that. We would do
yeah,
sandwiches on the run, and
yeah. It's true. Yeah.
it got really crowded in there with all the sorts of things you wanted to sell. Was there any pushback about how many square feet is your new market there on that site?
This is 5,500.
Yeah, good sized market.
Yeah, yeah. And no, it was there was pushback with, I guess, the local people and the Latinos that came for a while. Then over the years it worked its way out. Then we have to balance our demographic here. We have, like, I would say 60% middle class, working class, excuse me, and that's made up of about I guess half Latino, half white. And we had about, so the menu has to kind of fit in there for both of them in our hot table and what we offer. Um, and then the summer crowd that comes out, we need to offer them some.
Yeah,
Uh,
so I remember when it first opened, and one of the things about the building itself is that it looks, besides being a grand place, it looks almost as if it was a building that was built 200 years ago. It's done in the English style. It doesn't look like a typical market at all.
No.
And inside from day one, you seem to know exactly what it was you wanted to do, because you had these menus that covered all these different groups. You could get bagels and lox at one counter. You could get pizza. You could have a hot lunch at another. It was and it still is. It seems as if you, right off the mark, it seemed like you didn't have to make much of a change at all. Tell us what your thinking was of going from such a small spot on the map to how you decided you wanted to make
I
the
said,
market focus.
well, as far as the architecture, it was something my wife and I looked at. I guess it's taken from some of the buildings in Sag Harbor with the windows, the smaller windows going around, and the cupola at the top. And I forgot the name of the building in Sag Harbor. As soon as you come to the light there, that inn that's right there, we liked that as well. And so we tried to integrate all that into the design. And it's near the water as well, so we tried to keep that feeling and play there. Yeah, but the menu speaks to the demographic that I was speaking about, and there weren't items like that really available in the Springs area, so we tried to, and houses around the water, summer houses, and it seemed like more people from the city seemed to move out here all year, so we wanted to make all that available for them. So, but also we had to keep in, we couldn't charge the types of prices that are in the village for a lot of things, because we have our middle class carries us throughout the year, and we have to keep it keep it easy for them as well. So but healthy food for them. We have acai bowls. We have a a la carte salad menu. You can pick and choose, and we have all sort of poke bowls, and salmon and tuna. An array of different sandwiches, some empanadas, and so. Yeah, it's a big mix. We try to get it all in there and follow what's healthy and what's trendy and all the above.
I guess it took about a year and a half or 2 years to go from the deli to, there's a photograph of the deli in the old deli in the new market.
Right, and watercolor. Yeah, we had that done. Didn't want to
Did you
forget
ever think it might not happen, that the town wouldn't let you do it?
the town was actually pretty good about it, honestly. It was the contractor that we had. It was and subs, they bid on everything. Yeah, we'll knock it out for you. And then they didn't want to drive out here. They did not want to. Then they were like, yeah, they bid on it, and then nobody wanted to come out here in the summer, and they just dragged their feet, and so that was rough. But we got through it finally, and we're happy. We're happy it came to fruition. Yeah, there was a time where, like, my goodness, is this ever going to happen? And finally it did. So we're happy about that.
Do you have any future plans to change anything at the store?
No, we're going to keep things as is. I think, we've tried to add some more healthy products on the shelves, and we sort of, people come in and they're like, hey, can you get such and such? And we look and we get it. And so really the customers have sort of led us into types of products that we sell there. And happy to be flexible, and if we can get something that someone wants, we try and do that. And if we can't, we can't. But so we've been sort of growing and changing and evolving in that way.
Are you happy about what you've accomplished, and I guess you were there almost every day when you were
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah. We're indentured servants, so it's rough. But
have you
yeah,
been have you been back to Japan?
no, we need to go. Michiko, my wife, needs to get back and see her family, and that's been
Yeah.
she hasn't been back in like 20 years actually. So we got to get back. We keep in touch by Skype and telephone, but we've got to get back there, and I hope that'll happen maybe this winter. So we'll see what happens.
Well, thank you for being on the podcast. It's wonderful. Do you remember when I first showed up there?
Yes, yes, I do. The white hat, gave it away. Well, actually, I wasn't sure, and I was sort of about the white hat. Actually, I didn't know about you as well, I suppose. And then I asked, "Who's that gentleman in the white hat there?" And then and I understood.
Thank you for coming.
Absolutely.
Good to
Thanks
see
for
you.
having me. Really appreciate it.
I'll stop in.
Thanks,
Bye-bye.
Dan. Please do.